Hey everybody, so today I have another video in my exclusively pumping series on my channel, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how I go about using my freezer stash. And what I mean by that is I'm going to show you how I go about pulling all the milk from my freezer, putting it in my regular fridge freezer, and how I go about using that on a daily basis. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this in a previous video, but I am completely weaned now, so I am just giving her my frozen breast milk. I don't have any fresh to give her. So yeah. This is a long video in the making, and I actually wanted to get it up kind of earlier for you guys, but honestly, I went through a ton of trial and error trying to figure out the best way on doing this, and this just seems to be what works best for us and as a family and things like that. But I'm just going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to show you guys how I normally use my frozen milk. I'm out here in my garage where I keep my deep freezer, and like I said, I try to do this around 6 p.m. the night before I need to use this milk. And right now, this is the oldest bag of milk in here. As you can see, my top shelf is completely gone because I'm totally weaned now. But I need to grab this bag because that's what I need to take inside. However, the way I had stacked my bags is a little confusing. Basically, we need to use all the bags standing like this on this shelf before we can use these ones. That was my error. I kind of had a good idea in my head and it didn't really work out that well. So I'm just going to take this bag that's on top of it and just sit it up here, and we kind of do that with the bags that are on top of these ones. We just keep stacking them behind each other, and then we'll use that entire shelf. Like I said, it's kind of confusing, and it worked out better in my head than it actually did in real life. So I'm just going to grab this bag, and this is what I'm going to take inside. Okay, so now I'm just inside with my regular freezer, and what I've done is I have put aside 30 ounces in this Ziploc bag, just the one that I pulled out of the freezer, and then I put the remaining milk up here in this little tub that I have. Basically why I do that is because Sophie eats between 25 to 30 ounces of milk a day, give or take, and I'm just going to leave everything extra besides that up in here in the freezer, and then I'm just going to stick this Ziploc baggie down here. I keep a little spot right there open, and I just sit it like that. I kind of just lean it against the wall, which is pretty good because when it defrosts in the morning, it's still kind of supported. The reason I have it sitting in the Ziploc bag is just in case there's any holes or anything like that, and if a bag decides to leak, it's in that Ziploc baggie, so it's going to collect. It's not going to spill in my fridge. I could still use it because I know everything that went into that baggie is safe and sanitary and everything like that. So that's the reason I keep them in this Ziploc baggie, and then I will just show you guys in the morning when it's all defrosted how I go about using it. So Sophie is finally up this morning, and I'm going to get milk for her first sippy cup. She normally takes 5 ounces every other feeding, but when she first wakes up, I like to give her 6 ounces, and I think the one right behind here, yeah, this is 6 ounces. As you can see, it's pretty liquidy. Even the ice part I'm able to squeeze and it kind of falls apart. So I'm just going to stick this in some warm water. So how we warm it up is we just take a clean Tupperware container. This is the one we've been using for like the past couple days. And we just sit this down in the sink, and then I just turn on the hot water. I just let it get as hot as possible before I go ahead and stick the bag in there. And sometimes it takes the water a little while to warm up. Okay, so now the water is so hot that I wouldn't want to stick my fingers underneath of it. So I just stick the bowl under there, take the bag of milk, and just sit it in there. Okay. And then I just have it filled up completely to where the bag is going to be underneath the water. And I normally just like kind of go about our morning routine, and then I come back to it. So I'll check in with you guys once that happens. Okay, so it's been about 3 minutes, 4 minutes, something like that, and the milk is completely thawed now. It's also a good temperature, not too hot, not too cold, how she likes it. And I like to just give the bag a little squeeze because sometimes fat kind of tends to stick to the sides sometimes, I've noticed. So I just kind of shake it back and forth like this just to make sure that I get everything mixed up in there. And then, like I mentioned, Sophie drinks out of sippy cups now, so it's pretty easy to pour from the bag straight into a wide mouth sippy cup. It's pretty easy, but I'll show you guys how I do that. Just open the bag, and then very carefully I hold the spout open with these 2 fingers, well I guess 4, and then I pinch the back of the bag like this, and then I just let that part of the bag be kind of like a spout, and then I just pour it all in. And that's all I do. Just a little tip, if you're still using bottles or even narrow neck sippy cups, just go ahead and use one of your flange and go ahead, stick it down inside the opening, and you have this big old funnel that you can get the milk inside. It makes it a ton easier. I did that quite a bit whenever we were still using the standard Dr. Brown's bottles, and it helped a lot because that opening is super small and kind of hard to get all the milk into. And you just want to make sure that it's getting all inside the bottle, you know, you don't want to waste any. But it makes things super easy. I wanted to show you guys that. It's pretty easy with these sippy cups to get all the milk into, just because it's so wide up top. But that is everything that we do in the morning. Okay, so now that I've showed you how I normally use my frozen milk, I'm going to show you guys how I quick thaw it. Now, I don't normally quick thaw. I quick thaw if I'm at someone else's house or if we're traveling, things like that, where, you know, I don't have the ability to keep it frozen the night before and pull it out and everything like that. So I normally only do this when I'm traveling, or if I do forget to get the milk out the night before. Honestly, I worry about it a little less quick thawing, just because I know that I don't have to use it in a certain amount of time. I'm just quick thawing what she's gonna eat right then and there, so I don't have to worry about how long it's gonna last or anything like that. But I'm gonna show you guys how I do that in this clip right here. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you how I go ahead and quick thaw milk. Basically, I do this whenever I'm traveling, if I'm at somebody else's house, or if the night before I forgot to pull milk out of my freezer, which that's what I did last night. So I just have a frozen bag here. It has 7 ounces in it, which is quite a bit for her. I'm not going to use this all, and I also wanted to show you if there's too much milk, or sometimes I have to thaw 2 4-ounce bags or something like that, what I do with the leftover milk. The first thing that I do is I go ahead and I look at the bottom and I try to see if I see any holes or anything like that. I've been using frozen milk for a while now, so I pretty much know what a hole is going to look like if it's frozen. You can't always see them. Sometimes you're not going to find out until it starts to soften at the bottom with the warm water. But I try my best to look for them. This one doesn't seem like it has any holes. Now, when it came to my Lance Snow bags leaked so often and so much that I just, if I wanted to use a Lance Snow bag, I would immediately put it in a Ziploc baggie, defrost the milk bag inside of a Ziploc baggie. That's what I would do for the Lance Snow ones. My honeysuckles are pretty good, and I normally just thaw them like I'm about to show you. If I do happen to notice that if there's a leak or anything, I just stick it in a Ziploc bag. But I just go ahead and I turn on the hot water as hot as it will go, and that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I already had it pretty much warmed up, but I'm just going to put the same bowl that I used the last time, stick it under the water. I try to let the stream of water hit the bag while it's running, just to kind of soften that stuff up there that sometimes doesn't get sunk down inside the water. And then I let it sit like this. Now, right now, it's going to be hard for you guys to see since you're so far away, and I'm holding Sophie, so I can't really zoom you in. But I go ahead and I stand here for just like a minute or so, and I watch the bottom of the bag. The bottom of it is already pretty soft. There's already liquid down there. I can feel it. And if there is a hole, you'll just notice the like little stream coming out of the bottom of your bag. And I just watch for that. If I don't see any streams or anything like that, then I just walk away and I let it defrost. And normally for a 7-ounce bag, it takes about 4 or 5 minutes to defrost in the water. If it's 4 ounces or less, it really doesn't normally take more than just a few minutes to heat up the entire bag. But I'm just going to come back and check in with you guys after it's defrosted. Okay, it's been about 4 or 5 minutes, and if you hear any random noises, it's because Sophie is tearing apart her cupboard in the background so I can get this done. But anyways, the milk is completely thawed. As you can see, there's no leaks or anything like that, which is really good. And like I said before, I just like to kind of push the milk around a little bit just to make sure all the fat and everything else is just well dissolved in there. And this milk is like the perfect temperature. She doesn't like it too hot, she doesn't like it too cold, so I'm going to go ahead and pour it in her sippy cup. I love these sippy cups because they do have the milliliters and they also have the ounces on them. So I still know how much I'm giving her. And like I said, this is a 7-ounce bag, which is a little too much for her. I'm going to give her 5 ounces and I'll show you what I'm going to do with that extra 2. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour it into here. Like I said before too, if you have trouble pouring it into whatever you are using, just go ahead and stick your flange down inside and it can make it super simple. But I'm pretty good with the sippy cup, so I'm just going to show you guys how I pour it in there again. Like I said before, I just kind of hold the top open, I pinch the bottom right hand corner, and I just pour it in there like this. Okay, so I went ahead and I poured all the milk in there just because I wanted to make sure that there was 7 ounces in that bag. Sometimes it seems like maybe I had not put the right amount of milk in there, or the ounces seem to be off, stuff like that. So there is 7 ounces in there, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour some back in, like so, until I get down to 5. That was 1 ounce, and there's 2 ounces. So as you can see, there's not a ton of milk down there on the bottom. But I am going to show you guys what I'm going to do with this, because I don't like to waste milk at all. I don't know anybody who does, but we have tried giving her bigger bottles. Sometimes she wants them, sometimes she doesn't. And basically what we do is if 5 ounces isn't enough, we'll come back and we'll give her this. But she's not really acting too hungry right now, so I think 5 ounces will be more than suffice for her. So I'm just going to take you guys off the tripod and show you where I put it. This is the mess that I let her create just to get this video done for you guys. But anyways, I'm just going to stick this little 2 ounces back into the fridge, just right there. Since the bag didn't have any holes or anything, I don't feel bad about just like letting it sit there. If it did have holes, I would just pour it into another milk bag. But basically what we'll do is next time we thaw out like a 4-ounce bag or something like that, we'll use this defrosted milk and add it into that bottle. But her milk doesn't get super hot, and I've also refrigerated warmed up milk for the next feed, and it's just fine. So that's how it works for me. However, if you're not comfortable with that, you can just go ahead and use any milk that your baby doesn't end up eating or doesn't drink all from the bottle. Use it in a milk bath. That is a great way to use spoiled milk or any milk you're not comfortable feeding. And that is basically every step I have in quick thawing milk. And I'm going to get off here now so I can put back together my kitchen. Okay, so that is how I use my frozen milk. Like I said, you know, it may not be the correct way, it may not be the way you do it, but personally that's how it works for us and our family, and we've really been liking this system. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks for watching.